Today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about a very interesting story that was recently reported in the New York Times about essentially a new AI tool that diagnoses brain tumors on the operating table. And actually, a new study described a method for faster and more precise diagnoses, which can help surgeons decide how aggressively to operate. We're going to be diving into all of the implications. If you know me, you know that one of my favorite areas of AI is the way that it will positively impact healthcare. So without further ado, let's dive into it. Welcome to the world's #1 AI podcast, AI Chat. I'm your host, Jaden Schaefer. Make sure that you go to aibox.ai, link in the show notes, to join the waitlist for our new AI platform. We're going to be launching an incredible platform that allows you to build anything you want with workflows in AI. So you're able to chain together ChatGPT and image generators and audio generators to make really powerful apps for your organization, or you can host them on our marketplace and actually generate royalties from them. So make sure to go to aibox.ai and join the waitlist. In addition, if you like the podcast, if you could do me a massive favor and please leave us a review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. This helps me be able to get better guests on here as they check the reviews to see how you guys are liking it. So if you could please do that, I would really, really appreciate it. Have you ever wanted to start your own podcast? I record and publish podcasts on a platform called Spotify for Podcasters, and I absolutely love it. Essentially, you can upload from your phone or computer, and it distributes to every platform that plays podcasts. They support video podcasts, and you can make money on the platform with ads or even podcast subscriptions, something that has made my life so much easier as a podcaster. So if you're interested, I highly recommend you give it a try. You can download the Spotify for Podcast app or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started on your podcast today. Brain surgery is a field where millimeters matter. Surgeons often grapple with the very daunting challenges of discerning between healthy brain tissue and malignant tumors during operations. But thanks to innovative research from the Netherlands, artificial intelligence might now be offering them a new, powerful tool. So researchers have unveiled a cutting-edge, no pun intended, method that enables surgeons to harness artificial intelligence to identify tumor types, as reported in a recent study published in the journal Nature. So the technique involves AI analyzing fragments of a tumor's DNA, pinpointing specific chemical modifications, and then very quickly providing a detailed diagnosis, even discerning like subtypes of brain tumors, which I think is just incredibly fascinating. So let's talk about some of the implications, of this. Obviously, very cool technology, but what does this actually mean? So surgeons using this can now make more informed decisions during surgeries. This is essentially they're able to determine how aggressive or the aggression level of their operation based on the tumor's subtype. So Drone DeRuyter, an associate professor of the Center of Molecular Medicine at UMC, emphasized the importance of this technology, saying, quote, "It's imperative that the tumor subtype is known at the time of surgery. We have now uniquely enabled a very fine-grained, robust, detailed diagnosis to be performed already during the surgery," end quote. So the technology, named Sturgeon, underwent some really rigorous testing, and initially frozen tumor samples from previous brain surgeries served as the test bed, where it correctly diagnosed 45 out of 50 cases in just 40 minutes. So this is very, very fast and, has a relatively high accuracy rate for people that are saying, hey, how come it didn't correctly diagnose 100%? I believe in the future, we'll get there. This is just kind of the beginning of the technology. I think when used during 25 live brain surgeries, predominantly involving children, it produced about 18 accurate diagnoses. The remainder fell short of the confidence threshold, but its turnaround time of less than 90 minutes holds the potential to revolutionize surgical decisions, because typically this takes much longer and is much more difficult. In the current medical landscape, through genetic sequencing of brain tumor samples, which essentially offers a more detailed diagnosis, and while this isn't universally accessible, this becomes a really good option. So even when available, results, can take weeks on this stuff. As Dr. Alan Cohen, a cancer specialist from Johns Hopkins, puts it, quote, "We have to start treatment without knowing what we're treating," which obviously is an incredibly difficult problem that these people are faced with today. So Sturgeon's method accelerates the sequencing process, focusing only on select parts of the cellular genome. This means results are available even before a surgeon begins working on the tumor's peripheries. So Dr. DeRuyter likened the model's diagnostic capabilities to recognizing an image with just 1% of its pixels visible, which is absolutely insane. Of course, like all that being said, the technology sounds amazing, but like what's the catch? I don't know if there's necessarily a catch, but what I will say is there's still a lot of challenges around this. So some tumors provide more difficult to diagnose, especially if samples contain healthy brain tissue. Intratumor heterogeneity, where parts of a single tumor differ in genetic makeup, can also make things a little bit more complicated. So additionally, the expertise required for sequencing and classifying tumor cells is, it remains very high. So Dr. Sebastian Brander from the University College London recently kind of made that very clear. However, I think, with medical centers already implementing this method and seeing some really promising results, I think it seems the technology is gaining a lot of traction. So what is the larger mission of this all, right? That's kind of the question I had. And I think really what they're aiming to do here is to bring molecular precision to tumor diagnosis. And I think in doing so, they will potentially be crafting more targeted treatments that minimize damage to the nervous system. So although bridging the gap between understanding tumors and effective treatment remains a challenge, as Dr. Cohen recently said, I think there's no denying the progress made in the diagnosis sphere. So while this technology is not perfect, the thing I always say is, it starts out with something like this where, it can diagnose, 20 out of 25 tumors or 18 out of 25 tumors, whatever. And then it very quickly progresses where this technology improves and it gets to the point where it's 99.9% or 100% of tumors are successfully diagnosed. So I think it's a matter of time before we arrive there, a matter of time before this technology is incredibly efficient. And I'm very, very excited to see a lot of the progress that we're going to be making in the healthcare space thanks to AI.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
Thank you for listening to the AI Chat Podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, I'd appreciate it if you rate me wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're looking for an innovative group of AI enthusiasts, make sure you check out our Discord channel and also our Facebook community. It's obviously a lot more interactive than a podcast where we can actually share software tools, prompts that we're using in everyday AI. I'll leave a link for those in the description below.